so many black women have tried the natural hair journey and failed and have gone back to the texturizers and the relaxers because they say natural hair is just too much hard work. They don't want to wear their hair in its natural state. They prefer and crave the longer, straighter, more looser curl types because they feel good about themselves with those looks. And they don't have to maintain their own hair.
I want to unpack this clip with you guys a bit more because I can't lie. I feel like the way I did my whole natural hair care journey was backwards, and most of you who've been on the natural hair journey have done or are doing it backwards as well. Now, most people would suggest that embracing your natural hair as a black woman has a huge impact on increasing your level of self-love and self-acceptance. Well, I believe it's the other way around, meaning that if you increase your level of self-love and self-acceptance, then that will have a huge impact on you being able to embrace your natural hair. And actually, there are a few more aspects of self that you need to focus on first, that these two aspects can only truly come as a result of refining those other ones first. Let's put a pin in that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amina Cheryl. I am a natural hair care therapist and the founder of NHT London, which is a small business where I produce hair care products, services and programs to help empower black women and girls to challenge their perception of hair and beauty. So many non-black people might just be confused about why it's so difficult for some black women to love or even just really like their own natural hair textures. And that's okay. This is the reason why I talk about it, because it's not just us black women that need to hear it and understand it. It's everyone that needs to hear it and understand it, because there's layers to it. And when you add the extra layer of being Muslim on top of being black and a woman, that's a whole other perspective and a whole other conversation for a different video. Now, in regards to appreciating your natural hair, your natural afro hair in its authentic form, this is not just about the physicality of it. It's not just about being able to stroke your hair in admiration and have that anticipated L'Oreal moment. A lot of black women have also encountered the unexpected mental and emotional journey that comes with it as well. A journey which is deeply rooted in challenging their own perceptions of beauty and breaking through their internal glass ceiling. For anyone just starting their natural hair journey right now, you are going to at some point realize that the journey is steeped in challenging any negative beliefs that you may hold about yourself. The rhetoric that you might say to yourself, whether you're out in public or whether you're in a gathering or silently when you're by yourself at night, just racing through all the things that you shouldn't and should have said in your day. It's a journey where you're confronted by flashes of unresolved emotional wounds that you've been carrying for years. It's a journey where you're challenged with reversing unhelpful thoughts and unlearning unhelpful patterns of behavior. It's a journey that can only be championed by patience, the courage to be vulnerable, the courage to be honest with yourself, and the courage to be inquisitive. The journey doesn't start the moment you finally decide to do that big chop. Yes, the big chop is a huge step, one of many that is needed to actualize the journey and make it feel real. But it's definitely not where the journey starts. That's where we thought it started. But like I said in the beginning of this video, we did it backwards. There is a vital element that's needed to make your actions consistent in this journey. It's like if you decide that you want to lose weight today, right? You can start going to the gym, but that's not where your journey starts, because you can sign up to as many gyms and weight loss programs as you like. But without this one vital element, you're always going to revert back to whatever you were doing before. That vital element is mindset. If you're still with me and you're enjoying this video so far, then I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel because I want to continue to provide insightful, engaging videos for you guys about hair care and self-care. And by subscribing to my channel, you're helping me to be able to do that. Now, if you've ever done any sort of coaching program, then you know already that mindset is always emphasized. But I'm not just talking about simply being positive about what you're doing, or simply giving yourself a list of positive affirmations to say, all day or while you're in the mirror. Nah. I'm talking about doing self-assessment for self-development. So where do we start with that? It has to be self-awareness. Self-awareness is the power you have to recognize and understand in detail all of the things that make you uniquely and individually who you are. So that's your characteristics, your thought patterns, your emotional scale, your actions, the values you hold, your internal belief system. Ultimately, what self-awareness is it's a state where you mentally process the development of the self, how you came to be who you are today, all the lived experiences that have impacted you to be who you are. Think how you think, move how you move. Self-awareness is something that we possess, but for most people, it's not something that they focus on in every moment of every day. For most people, when they first start looking at their own self-awareness under a magnifying glass, it's like a series of aha moments. You know, that sudden moment of realization about the reason why you don't like dogs, or the reason why you don't like to swim, or the reason why you get anxious when you sense confrontation, or the reason why you feel depressed when your hair is not done. For most people, when they first start looking at their own self-awareness, they start to see they only take a moment to ponder. They only scratch at the surface. Once they begin to understand more about self-awareness in terms of it being a mental process, a process of critical analyzation, they become more readily aware of seeking out those aha moments. And then they start to pay attention to detail, the nuances of their body language, their emotional cues, their emotional triggers, changes in the mood, physiological responses, for example, cold sweats, shaking, self-soothing. They ask themselves questions relating to it and ponder much more deeply, and the analysing becomes much more deliberate. It's like you start to become aware of how your brain's actually working. Your mind starts to become more conscious of the process, and the process becomes more and more normalized as different scenarios play out. Most importantly for me as a Muslim, I feel like self-awareness is a necessary skill to sharpen because we constantly have to be aware of our actions and our intentions, which are connected to our words, which are connected to our thoughts. And I believe it's a very important skill for everyone to have. But why do I say this is where the natural Afro hair journey really starts for Black women? Because I know from my own personal experience that if you don't start there, it will take you much longer to reach those hair goals you've set for yourself. Because the maintenance of natural Afro hair requires time, dedication, and most importantly, consistency. Like, there's no such thing as a wash and go when it comes to natural Afro hair. You can wash it, but I promise you, you're not going anywhere for a good couple of hours. And if you don't even like your natural Afro hair yet, how are you just going to become in love with it? Baby girl, please don't fool yourself into believing that watching a bunch of how-tos and trying every new product on the market is going to get you there. It's literally like trying to bake a cake with eggs, sugar, milk, and butter. What's missing? Guys, don't let me down. What's missing? The flour, the main ingredient. If the flour is missing, how are you going to make a cake? It's not going to be a cake. Maybe it's going to be a really sugary omelette. I don't know, but you're not getting a cake. Anyway, do you see the point? Do you see what I'm saying? You're going to keep making that nasty sugary omelette, and it don't matter how much times you change it up and use buttermilk instead of milk, or fling in a vanilla essence or almond essence or something. Until you add the main ingredient, you will not get the outcome you desire. And when you finally do add the flour and realize that this was where you should have started, you will realize that you just wasted a lot of time and resources. To add to the cake analogy even further, I'm sure you will agree, the more precise you are with each step of the recipe, the better the cake will be, right? In the case of the flour, most bakers will agree that if you sift the flour before you add any other ingredients to it, once you've sifted the flour, you will end up with a cake that's lighter and fluffier in texture. If you don't sift the flour, you may end up with a stodgy, heavier and denser cake. Because the end goal is not just a cake that looks and smells nice. You want a cake that you can enjoy. I'm going to stop talking about cake now because I'm starting to get cravings. So yeah. Let me bring it back to the natural Afro hair journey. The end goal should not just be hair that looks nice because it's long and healthy. You should want to enjoy your hair, appreciate your hair, love your hair. You should want to reach that goal of self-love and self-acceptance so that you can love your hair the way that you should love yourself. This takes me back to the point I made in the beginning of this video about there being a few more attributes or aspects of self that you need to focus on first. After self-awareness, we have self-reflection. So to keep it simple, self-reflection is taking the time to ponder on, evaluate, and give some deep thought to the reasons behind your behaviors, positive and negative, your thought patterns, good and bad, your moods, high and low, your motivations, and your desires. Next is self-validation. Self-validation is the act of giving yourself permission to feel and acknowledge your lived experiences, your needs, your strengths, your weaknesses, your limitations, your mistakes, and any emotional wounds, letting go of any shame and blame that might cause you to dismiss any feelings attached to those experiences. Next is self-confidence. Self-confidence is a positive attitude about your skills and abilities. To have self-confidence means to accept and trust yourself with as much as you are able to control in your life. Next is self-worth. Self-worth is the way you value and perceive yourself based on the set of opinions and beliefs you hold about yourself. These opinions and beliefs can be negative and positive, some more than others, and it takes work to change or reframe them. Next is self-care. Self-care is the conscious acts that you take to improve your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional health. Self-care is really and truly a priority, not a luxury. Next is self-love. Self-love is a state of appreciation that you have for yourself, which grows from the actions that you take with all of the previous aspects of self that I've already mentioned. Self-love is about holding your well-being and happiness in high regard. And last is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is exactly what it suggests. It's a state of complete acceptance of yourself. True self-acceptance is embracing who you are without any need to satisfy any expectations or conditions placed on you by either yourself or others. With all these aspects of self, there is no finish line. There's no destination. There's just levels. There's just do better. And each one comes with something that you actively have to practice, because practice makes better. And that's why this is a journey. If you feel like watching more of my videos and you want to binge a little, I recommend this video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.